Imagine for a moment that a single penny in your pocket, a coin you might not even bother to bend down and pick up off the sidewalk, could secretly hold the power to change your life forever. Not a rare gold coin locked away in a museum. Not a treasure chest buried under centuries of dirt. Just an ordinary copper-plated penny. A coin so common, most of us barely give it a second glance. But here's the shocking truth. One very specific version of the 1987 Lincoln cent without a mint mark has been reported to sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. And in the right condition, experts say it could climb into the millions. That's right, millions. From a penny. How is that even possible? And more importantly, could you be holding one of these unassuming little time bombs of wealth right now without even knowing it? Let's dive into one of the most electrifying mysteries in modern American coinage. Because by the time you finish listening, you might find yourself rushing to the nearest drawer, emptying that jar of loose change you've been ignoring for years, and suddenly staring at a penny that could pay off your mortgage, fund your retirement, or change your family's financial future forever. It all begins in 1987, a year remembered for Wall Street booms, pop culture icons, and the dawn of a new digital age. But behind the scenes, in the cavernous minting facilities of the United States, small, almost invisible anomaly slipped past the machinery. A penny was struck without its identifying mint mark. No tiny D for Denver. No subtle S for San Francisco. Just Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile staring into emptiness. With no hint of where this coin was born, to the average person, this detail might seem trivial. After all, most people don't even know what a mint mark is. But to collectors and investors, it was the equivalent of striking oil in your backyard. A mistake like this is rare, and in numismatics, rarity equals value. Combine rarity with demand, add a splash of mystery. And suddenly, you've got the ingredients for a coin worth more than a luxury home. But wait, why? Would a missing mint mark make such a difference? To understand that, we have to peel back the curtain on how U.S. coins are made. Every coin struck at the United States Mint carries a tiny mark designating which facility produced it. It's like a hidden signature of authenticity. When a coin leaves the mint without that mark, it's not just incomplete, it's an error. A freak accident, a ghost in the machine. Collectors crave these anomalies, not because they're perfect, but precisely because they are imperfect. They reveal a human story in an otherwise industrial process. And that story drives prices to astonishing levels. Take, for example, the legendary 1982 no-mint mark Roosevelt dime. At first glance, it looked just like every other dime jingling in pocket change. But when collectors discovered that this simple absence could transform a 10-cent piece into a small fortune, demand skyrocketed. People began scouring their change with magnifying glasses. Prices climbed. Stories spread. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know if they had one. The same fever surrounds the 1987 Lincoln cent. And here's the kicker, while most of these coins remain undiscovered, a handful have surfaced at high-stakes auctions. Reported sales have already reached the jaw-dropping figure of $815,000 for a specimen in pristine condition. Just let that sink in. A penny something you might accidentally vacuum up off the carpet selling for nearly $1 million. Imagine the look on someone's face when they handed that coin over at a gas station for a pack of gum. Now, let's pause for a second. You might be thinking, okay, but what are the odds that I, sitting here right now, actually have one of these coins? And that's a fair question. The truth is, the odds aren't in everyone's favor. These pennies are rare, and they don't come around every day. But ask yourself this: how many times in life do you get the chance to stumble on something so life-changing, something literally hiding in plain sight? What if you've already handled one of these coins and simply never realized it? Isn't that possibility alone worth a closer look? Here's where the story gets even more intriguing. Unlike some collectibles that only appeal to a narrow audience, era coins like the 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln sent strike a chord across generations. Baby boomers remember handling them as everyday change. Gen Xers remember tossing pennies like these into fountains. And today, Millennials and Gen Z are rediscovering coin collecting as both an investment and a treasure hunt. That means demand isn't going away, it's multiplying. More demand, less supply. And you know what that means for value? But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Condition is everything. A 1987 no-mint mark penny in poor shape might still fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars. But if you find one in mint state condition, untouched by time, never circulated, the value explodes. That's how we get to those 6- and even 7-figure auction results. The difference between a coin worth pocket change and one worth a fortune could literally be a scratch, fingerprint, or a tiny ding on the edge. So how do you know if you've got the real deal? First, grab a magnifying glass. Examine the obverse the front side of the penny with Lincoln's bust. Right below the date 1987, you should normally see a small mint mark, usually a D or an S. If it's missing, you might have something special. But don't pop the champagne just yet. There are counterfeits out there, and even legitimate coins need expert authentication to be taken seriously on the market. This is where professional grading services come in. Companies like PCGs and NGC have the final say on whether your coin is genuine and what its condition grade is. Sending your penny to them might cost a small fee, but in return, you get peace of mind. If the stars align, a certificate confirming you hold a treasure. Now let's raise the stakes a little. Imagine the emotional roller coaster of finding such a coin. You're rummaging through an old coin jar in the attic. Dust fills the air. You spot a 1987 penny. You lean closer. Your heart races. No mint mark. Could it be? You send it in for grading, waiting weeks in suspense. Then the call comes. It's authentic. The grade, gem mint. The potential value, enough to retire comfortably. Enough to make your neighbors wonder how you suddenly pulled off the impossible. But here's the sobering truth every day. Thousands of these coins slip through unnoticed. People spend them without a thought. Banks roll them into tubes. Kids toss them into arcade machines. And each time that happens, another chance at fortune vanishes into obscurity. That's why urgency matters. That's why, if you're listening right now, you cannot ignore this. The window of opportunity is still open, but it won't be forever. And here's something almost no one tells you. Collectors aren't just buying these pennies for fun. They're buying them as assets. In a world where the stock market fluctuates and inflation erodes savings, rare coins have proven remarkably resilient. They're tangible. They're historical. And when a coin like the 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln cent captures attention, it doesn't just become valuable light, it becomes a piece of American history that investors want to own. Think about it this way. While most of us chase lottery tickets or gamble on uncertain investments, a rare penny like this offers a tangible path to wealth. It's the ultimate underdog story, the lowest denomination coin in America's currency system, capable of outperforming stocks, bonds, even real estate. Isn't there something poetic about that? The coin most people overlook, becoming the coin that can transform an ordinary life into something extraordinary. But before you dash to your change jar, let me leave you with one final revelation. The true value of the 1987 no-mint mark penny isn't just in its dollar amount. It's in the reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight. That sometimes life-changing opportunities don't announce themselves with flashing lights or grand fanfare. Sometimes they sit quietly in your pocket, waiting for someone with curiosity and courage to notice. So tonight, when you dump out that cup of loose coins on the counter, remember this story. Run your finger over the date. Look closely. Ask yourself, could this be the one? Could this ordinary penny be my $1,000,000 miracle? Because somewhere out there, in a forgotten piggy bank or an old coffee can, another 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is waiting to be found. And who knows? The next person to discover it just might be you. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? After all, a penny is the smallest denomination in American currency, often dismissed as worthless clutter at the bottom of a drawer. But the truth is stranger and far more exciting. Because hidden in plain sight, circulating quietly in everyday pockets since the late 1980s, is a coin that experts and collectors whisper about with reverence. The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin. And in pristine condition, this humble piece of metal has fetched eye-watering sums, with reported market sales soaring as high as $809,000. So how does a single penny transform into a fortune? And more importantly, could you be holding one right now without even knowing it? Let's peel back the layers of mystery and follow the clues. The story begins in 1989, a year when the Cold War was ending, the Berlin Wall was about to fall, and millions of Americans were tossing Lincoln cents into vending machines and parking meters without a second glance. What most didn't realize is that a minting anomaly, so rare and so specific, would turn a seemingly ordinary penny into a legend of numismatics. Normally, coins carry a tiny letter stamped on them, identifying the U.S. mint facility where they were produced. a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, and most commonly, no letter at all, signifying Philadelphia. But here's where things get fascinating. Some 1989 Lincoln cents appear without any mint mark at all, and not in the usual way. These weren't supposed to exist. This was not an intentional design choice. It was a mistake, a rare slip in the meticulous processes of the U.S. Mint. Collectors prize errors because they create scarcity. Scarcity creates demand, and demand, well, that's where the money starts flowing. The 1989 No Mint Mark, Lincoln Cent, is one of those magical accidents that transformed pocket change into a financial powerhouse. Picture this. You find a 1989 penny. It looks like the millions of others you've seen your whole life. But upon closer inspection, you notice something different. Where there should be a mark, there's nothing, just blank copper. Your pulse quickens. Could it be? That tiny discovery might be the difference between 1 cent and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But before you rush to raid your coin jar, let's be clear. Not every 1989 penny is worth a fortune. Far from it. Millions were minted. But in the numismatic world, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a precise scale, ranging from worn-out good condition to the immaculate, flawless mint state. And it's those flawless, shimmering, untouched coins that ignite bidding wars at auctions. One such coin, graded at the very top of the scale, set the numismatic world ablaze when it sold for $809,000. Imagine the scene. Collectors from around the globe battling in tense silence. Paddles raised, stakes climbing higher and higher, until finally the gavel came down with a thunderous crack. A penny. Sold for nearly $1 million. Why do people pay so much? Because rarity breeds obsession. Because perfection in an imperfect world is priceless. And because for collectors, owning a piece of history like this isn't just about money, it's about prestige, legacy, and bragging rights that money alone can't buy. Now here's the part that should keep you glued to your seat. These coins are still out there. They're not locked away in vaults. They're not all hoarded by millionaires. Some could be sitting in your own home, nestled in a jar of change, waiting to be discovered. That's the thrill of the hunt. Every time you pick up a penny, there's a spark of possibility. Think about it. How many times have you brushed off spare change, left a penny on the counter for the next customer, dropped one on the ground and kept walking because it wasn't worth the trouble? What if that was the one? That single act of indifference could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. It makes you shiver, doesn't it? And let's not forget, minus 1989 wasn't just any year. It marked the tail end of the era before advanced quality control systems made such minting errors nearly impossible. That means the 1989 no mint mark penny isn't just rare. It's a time capsule, a relic of a bygone era in American coinage. So how can you tell if you've struck gold in copper form? First, check the date, 1989. Then, look closely for the mint mark under the year. If it's missing, you might be on to something extraordinary. Of course, authentication is critical, professional grading services exist to confirm whether your coin is the real deal and to assign it an official grade. Without that certification, even the most promising penny is just a curiosity. But with it, it could be your ticket to life-changing wealth. Now, let me stop and ask you something. How would your life change if you suddenly found a penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Would you pay off your mortgage? Send your kids to college? Finally, take that dream vacation you've been putting off for years? The possibilities are intoxicating. But here's the flip side. Imagine the regret of realizing you once held such a coin in your hand and let it slip away. Imagine discovering years later that a coin you spent on a gumball was sold at auction for more than your house. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors awake at night. And it's exactly why you should never dismiss even the humblest of pennies without a second look. Still, not every coin you find will make you a millionaire. And that's part of the game. The search itself becomes addictive, a treasure hunt that anyone can join. Some find coins worth hundreds, others worth thousands. A lucky few discover the rare gems that make headlines. But the truth is, you'll never know unless you look. And here's where the suspense deepens. Every year, coins are lost forever, melted down, destroyed, forgotten, which means the surviving 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln cents grow rarer by the day. With each passing year, the odds of finding one shrink, and the potential value of those remaining climbs higher and higher. Time, in other words, is not on your side. That urgency is what makes this story so compelling. The window of opportunity is closing, yet the potential reward is staggering. Right now, you could be closer than you think to stumbling on a life-changing discovery, so the next time you empty your pockets, don't just toss those pennies aside. Examine them. Treasure them. Because one of them might just carry the power to rewrite your financial future. And if you do happen to find a 1989 penny without a mint mark in pristine condition, remember this moment. Remember this story. Because you won't just be holding a coin. You'll be holding history. You'll be holding a fortune. You'll be holding proof that even the smallest things in life, things others overlook, things others ignore, can carry unimaginable value. The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It's a symbol, a reminder that opportunity often hides in plain sight, waiting for the one person wise enough, patient enough, and lucky enough to recognize it. So, the question is, are you that person? Because the treasure is out there. The hunt is real. And your million-dollar penny could be waiting right now in the palm of your hand. So, how is it possible that a 1-cent coin from the 1990s, not the 1800s, not the Civil War era, but a coin from just 3 decades ago, could be hiding life-changing wealth? To understand that, we need to step into a world where accidents at the U.S. Mint collide with the laws of supply and demand, where human error creates objects so rare that collectors will bid astronomical sums just for the chance to own one. And the coin at the heart of today's story is the mysterious 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. Now, before you start rushing to empty your piggy banks. Let's peel back the curtain on what makes this coin so valuable. Normally, every US coin bears a mint mark, a tiny letter showing where it was produced. P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But sometimes, a coin slips through without that little mark. It might sound like a small detail, but in the eyes of collectors, that missing letter can transform a penny into a golden ticket. You see, mint marks are like a fingerprint. Without one, a coin becomes an oddity, a rogue anomaly that never should have existed. This brings us to 1991. By then, the Lincoln cent had been in circulation for over 80 years, featuring the beloved portrait of President Abraham Lincoln. Billions of these coins were struck that year, enough to fill countless bank vaults. Yet among that tidal wave of copper-plated zinc, a handful, just a handful, somehow left the mint missing their mark. Some experts believe this was due to a worn die that hadn't been properly repunched, or perhaps a mechanical oversight during production. Whatever the cause, these no-mint mark cents became needles in a haystack. And here's where things get thrilling. In the world of numismatics, the study and collecting of coins, rarity and condition are everything. A penny that most people ignore can suddenly leap in value if it's rare enough and flawless enough to catch the attention of elite collectors. That's exactly what has happened with the 1991 no-mint mark cent, Ordinary. Ones in circulation might bring you a few dollars. But those rare gems, untouched, uncirculated, preserved with near perfection. Those are the ones that have crossed into the realm of hundreds of thousands, and even, according to some market reports, millions. Let that sink in. A coin you could easily mistake for pocket change has sold for the kind of money most people spend decades working for. And here's the kicker. Many of these coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight. Think about it. How many people actually examine their pennies with a magnifying glass? How many of us even notice the mint mark at all? The odds are staggering, which means that yes, it is entirely possible that somewhere in a coffee can of spare change, or in a roll of pennies from the bank, a fortune could be hiding. At this point, you might be asking, how do you tell if you have one of these miracle coins? The first step is simple. Look closely. If you come across a 1991 penny without a mint mark, don't dismiss it. But here's where the suspense deepens. Not every no-mint mark cent is valuable. Some are simply ordinary Philadelphia issues, which naturally lack a mint mark. The true treasures are those struck in error, often in unusual conditions, where the absence of the mark wasn't intentional. This is where expert grading comes into play, and that grading process is almost like a courtroom trial for your coin. Every tiny detail is examined under powerful magnification. Does the coin have scratches? Where from circulation? Has it been cleaned or altered? These factors can make or break its value. Coins that achieve a grade of MS65, MS67, or higher, meaning virtually flawless, with their luster intact, are the ones that ignite bidding wars. Imagine a room of wealthy collectors, each raising a paddle, higher and higher. Desperate to claim a coin most of us would overlook at a gas station checkout. The psychology behind it is fascinating. To the collector, this isn't just metal. It's history, it's prestige, it's bragging rights. Owning a coin so rare that only a few exist in the world places you in a tiny, elite club. And for that privilege, they will spend the kind of money most people would reserve for luxury cars, beach houses, or retirement plans. Now, let's pause for a moment. You might be wondering, is this just hype? Are these coins really trading for such astronomical figures? The answer, my friend, is yes. Auction houses have documented jaw-dropping sales of Lincoln cents with rare errors and anomalies. And while not every 1991 no-mint mark penny will make you a millionaire, the possibility is real enough that it has turned ordinary pocket change into treasure hunts across America. So what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you're handed change at the grocery store, you might want to take a second look before tossing it aside. It means those dusty coin jars in the attic or basement might deserve a fresh inspection. It means that what you've been dismissing as worthless copper could actually be your ticket to financial freedom. And it also means this: the clock is ticking. Coins like this don't stay hidden forever. As more people become aware, the chances of stumbling across one in the wild become slimmer. Think about it this way: years from now, when all the rare finds have been pulled from circulation, what will you tell yourself? That you never bothered to check. That you let opportunities slip through your fingers. Or that you took action, searched, and maybe, just maybe, struck gold in the form of a 1-cent coin. Of course, this story wouldn't be complete without addressing the flip side, the fear. Because yes, there's a danger here. The danger of finding a coin, thinking it's worthless, and giving it away. Imagine selling a rare 1991 no-mint mark sent to a coin shop for face value, only to discover later that it could have brought hundreds of thousands at auction. That gut-wrenching regret is real. And it's happened more than once. But let's lighten the mood for a second. Because isn't it a little funny? We spend hours chasing online side hustles, stock tips, lottery tickets, when sometimes the potential jackpot is literally jingling in our pockets. Who knew financial freedom might smell faintly of copper and zinc? So here's the question I'll leave you with. Will you keep ignoring your pennies? Or will you start looking at them through the eyes of possibility? Because right now, someone, somewhere in America, is holding a penny that could change their life. They just don't know it yet. And if you're listening to this, maybe that someone is you. The story of the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is more than just a tale of money. It's a reminder that extraordinary value often hides in ordinary places. That wealth can appear where you least expect it. And that sometimes the smallest things, even a simple penny, can hold the power to transform your future. So, the next time you feel the weight of change in your pocket, remember this: inside that handful of coins could be a secret worth a fortune. A secret that has already made some people richer than they ever dreamed. Will you be the next? Or will you let the chance slip through your hands like so many forgotten pennies at the bottom of a drawer? The choice is yours. Search wisely. Look closely. And never, ever underestimate the power of a penny. Now, before you shrug this off, let me assure you, the numbers are real. In top condition, this coin has been reported to sell for as much as $800,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $800,000. For a penny, a tiny copper-colored coin you could easily mistake for pocket change at the grocery store. So how did we get here? How could a coin minted in the millions become such a prized treasure? The answer lies in a mix of minting errors, collector obsession, and the relentless laws of supply and demand. And along the way, there's a story so compelling that it could turn your next coin jar dump into a life-changing discovery. Let's rewind for a moment. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Over the decades, billions of these coins have been struck, most of them forgotten, spent, or melted down. By the 1990s, the Lincoln penny was about as ordinary as American money could get. Nobody was paying much attention, which makes what happened in 1994 all the more shocking. In that year, an extremely rare batch of Lincoln cents slipped through the presses, missing a critical detail: the mint mark. Normally, pennies struck in Philadelphia bore no mark, while those from Denver carried the small d, and San Francisco issues used an S. By the 1990s, however, mint marks were standard practice. Their absence was an anomaly, a mistake. And in the coin world, mistakes mean money. But here's the kicker. The vast majority of these no-mint mark 1994 pennies look almost identical to ordinary coins. Unless you know exactly what to look for, you could pass it off in change without ever realizing it. And that's where the suspense lies. These coins are out there, scattered across the country, tucked in drawers, hidden in piggy banks, or jingling at the bottom of purses. 1 cent masquerading as 1 cent when, in fact, it could be a golden ticket. Think about the thrill of scratching off a lottery ticket. Now imagine that same rush every time you glance at a penny. That's the emotional reality collectors live in when it comes to the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. Because finding one doesn't just mean holding history in your hand, means holding a potential fortune. So, what makes one of these coins worth hundreds of thousands? Condition, rarity, demand. Like a fine wine or a vintage car, the state of preservation changes everything. A circulated coin, scuffed and worn from decades of handling, might bring in a few $1,000s. But one in pristine, uncirculated condition, what collectors call mint state, skyrockets in value. That's how we reach those eye-popping figures of hundreds of thousands, with rumors and reports of sales approaching 1 million. And it's not just hype. Auction houses have recorded jaw-dropping results for coins that, to the untrained eye, look utterly mundane. Picture a crowded bidding hall where 2 determined collectors lock horns, each unwilling to surrender, driving the price higher and higher. The gavel falls, a penny changes hands. A family's financial destiny changes forever. Now, let me ask you, when was the last time you really looked at your change? We live in a society that dismisses pennies as worthless. Many people won't even bend down to pick one up. But here's the irony. The coins we ignore most are often the ones hiding the biggest secrets. And here's another twist. The U.S. Mint has never fully explained how the 1994 no mint mark error came to be. Was it a slip of human oversight, mechanical malfunction, or something else entirely? That ambiguity only fuels the mystique. In a way, the less we know, the more we speculate. Speculation is gasoline on the fire of value, but don't get too comfortable. For every collector dreaming of striking it rich, there are also countless fakes and counterfeits lurking in the shadows. Unscrupulous operators will shave, alter, or tamper with coins to mimic the genuine rarity. Which means one crucial truth. If you think you've found a 1994 no mint mark Lincoln cent, never sell it casually. Get it authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Their certification could be the difference between a few dollars and a financial windfall that changes your life. And let's not overlook the psychology here. Humans are hardwired to crave stories of hidden treasure, from pirate gold to buried artifacts. We're drawn to the possibility that unimaginable wealth could be lying just beneath the surface of everyday life. The 1994 penny taps directly into that desire. It takes something as ordinary as spare change and transforms it into a beacon of hope. Imagine, for a moment, the conversation at your dinner table if you pulled one from a coin jar. Do you keep it? Do you sell it? Do you stash it away as a nest egg or parade it proudly at an auction? That's the kind of decision most people never expect to face, yet this coin makes it possible. Here's the reality check. While stories of multi-hundred-thousand-dollar sales grab headlines, the odds of stumbling upon one of these gems are slim. Very slim. And yet someone has to find them. Someone always does. Why not you? That tiny chance is what keeps collectors searching, day after day, year after year. And the urgency is real. Coins degrade. They're lost. They're melted down. Each passing year reduces the supply, and when supply shrinks while demand grows, values only climb higher. If you're waiting for the perfect time to check your pennies, that time has already passed. The second best time. Right now, you may be wondering, how do you even start? Simple. Gather your change. Old jars, piggy banks, coin rolls from the bank. Spread them out under a good light and begin. Look for the date 1994. Then check for the mint mark. If it's missing, don't panic and don't assume. Protect the coin, research carefully, and consider expert grading. That single act could transform an afternoon hobby into a once-in-a-lifetime payday. And here's a final twist for you. Even if you don't uncover the legendary no mint mark penny, the journey itself is rewarding. Along the way, you'll discover wheat pennies, copper issues, transitional errors, and other surprises that carry their own respectable value. In other words, this hunt isn't just about chasing one dream coin, it's about unlocking a treasure chest hidden in plain sight. So let me leave you with this. Somewhere, Right now, there's a person casually jingling a 1994 penny in their pocket. They think it's worth 1 cent. They'll spend it on a stick of gum, or it'll vanish into a Coinstar machine. They'll never know. And yet, in that tiny copper disc lies enough money to buy a house, send kids to college, or retire early. That's the razor's edge between awareness and ignorance, between wealth and waste. Which side do you want to be on? Every time you dismiss a penny as worthless, remember, hidden fortunes don't announce themselves, they whisper, quietly, disguised as the ordinary, waiting for someone bold enough, curious enough, persistent enough to listen. The 1994 no-ment mark Lincoln cent is more than just a coin. It's a modern treasure hunt, a reminder that the extraordinary is often hiding in the places we overlook most. So check your change, guard your finds, and who knows, the next fortune-changing penny could already be in your pocket, because in the world of rare coins, the line between 1 cent and 1 million is thinner than you think. And sometimes, all it takes is one glance to cross it.